there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's time for Monster Comic Reviews. Wow, it's been, I don't know how many months since I've done one of these, but I figured, hey, I need to get back into doing this. Today I'm going to be talking comic books by myself. Talking about some of the same comic books I talked about at Comic Book Roundtable. Maybe I'll add something new. Maybe I won't. Anyway, let's jump right into them. These are for comics for the week of October 14th, I want to say, 2015. We're going to jump right into our comic books. Start out with Batman issue number 45. I have been very up and down on the robotic Batman. And I don't know that it's so much happened in the Batman title or some of the other Batman books that I'm reading. There have just been some storylines and some storytelling and whatnot that I just have not cared for at all, and it's kind of sour grapes me on the whole, Bat Robot thing in general. I was really excited to get some really kind of cool Gordon stories. I haven't felt like we've been given that at all. Quite honestly, anybody could have been this. It didn't have to be Gordon for most of it. They kind of explained at one point in the Bat stories that why it should be Gordon. Kind of made sense, and then they basically didn't use that except for in that first issue. This issue I did enjoy. I like some of the elements with Gordon taking action in this issue. I really like. There's things about this that don't make sense to me though. So a few issues ago, it got built up. That Gordon was clearly the only person that could do this job, his wisdom and everything. They had all these people in training, but none of them were going to cut the mustard, and so they really had to have Jim Gordon be the new Batman. Okay, we all buy into Jim Gordon being the new Batman. And then in this issue, within a few panels and within a few pages, he's basically fired. Resign, Jim. We don't need you to do this anymore. We don't want you to do this. Who are they going to have replace him? They just, at most 6 months ago, 3 months ago, there was nobody even close to having the capabilities of doing this job. Now he can just suddenly be replaced really easily by whoever. So I don't know that I'm buying that part. That part, the more I think about it, the more that bugs me. As far as the story itself goes, and it doesn't make sense to be going on what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like they're doing enough. I don't feel like they're telling us enough of a story. I also feel like they've introduced Batman back into the story. I mean, not Batman. They've introduced Bruce Wayne back into the story too soon. Now, I like the Bruce Wayne parts. I've enjoyed the Bruce Wayne parts. The whole brain injury thing. But I feel like that this should have just been Gordon-centric book. No hint of Bruce Wayne existing whatsoever. Leave him, as far as we're concerned, dead as a doornail for 4 months or so. Then bring him back and give us the Bruce Wayne story or whatever. To me, he was never gone long enough to feel like he was gone, and now we have him kind of in this halfway state that I don't think is informing us in any way. It's not telling us anything new about Bruce. It's not informing us of something different. The only thing I can see that would be curious, that would be an interesting story to tell out of the Bruce Wayne part of this, is right now he's kind of rejecting the old Bruce Wayne, and the fact that the old Bruce Wayne suffered this trauma of his family being murdered in the alley, and it's always been that's been the pinnacle thing that makes Bruce Wayne Batman, the vengeance aspect of that, to never let that happen to anybody else. That whole thing that informed young Bruce Wayne enough to make him into the super detective that we know as Batman is not there. Now, what would be interesting, I think, of a story is if Bruce slowly moves back to being Batman in some sense, but always retains being Bruce Wayne first. I think it's, in my opinion, Batman is Batman first and Bruce Wayne second. Bruce Wayne is something that he has to do to maintain a certain amount of illusion for him to function, basically. to fund himself, to do lots of other stuff that he does do that's really a cover for him to be Batman. That's all Bruce Wayne is anymore. It would be interesting if they changed it, they flipped those reversals, that really Bruce Wayne develops being Bruce Wayne. He is a person. He has loves, he has cares, he has interests outside of being Batman, but he does take this mantle back on, out of some level of responsibility or whatever. But it's not an obsession. It is not first and foremost. He is Bruce Wayne first, and then he has this nighttime job of being Batman. That would be interesting, I think, to tell some stories along those lines, for him to not have, to unhinge him from that. I doubt we're going to get that. At some point, he's going to retain everything, I would guess, and go back to being what he is. But that's what I would be interested in. But this issue had some good stuff in it. Towards the end of it, when there's Bloom, Mr. Bloom is coming in to attack. He scrambles to action and whatnot, and I enjoyed that part of it. Was pretty cool. So we'll see. Been very up and down for me, this whole robot bat thing. So yeah, no. Anyway, what's next? Oh, yes, the ever popular and now seemingly controversial Sam Wilson Captain America #1. I don't know. Am I supposed to keep calling it Sam Wilson Captain America? I guess I probably should. That defines it from from Captain America White, and I don't know. Is Steve Rogers getting his own book too? Don't know. Anyway. Biggest reason I picked this up initially, it wasn't on my poll. I actually went to the chain store and picked it up. On Wednesday, I heard some people talking about how great an issue was. That it was a cool story. So I thought, okay, well, hot and cold on Nick Spencer. I like some of his stuff, and some of his stuff I knew whatever about. And I love Daniel Acuna's art. He was great on Uncanny Avengers in this last arc of it, and so I thought, well, sure, I'll pick it up and see what it is. Much to my surprise, or not, I really enjoyed it. Basically, the premise to me of the story is Sam Wilson has realized he can't be Steve Rogers, Captain America. This isn't him. He doesn't have the history, the frame of reference, or any of that sort of stuff to be the same Captain America that Steve Rogers was. So he is now questioning, how does he fit in being Captain America? A role he wants to have, but how does that work for him? And so he basically, he finishes up some S.H.I.E.L.D. work with Hydra, and does a news announcement saying that he is no longer going to work strictly with the government, for the government. He's not going to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. He's going to be his own independent person, basically because he can't do, he can't work for the government anymore. That doesn't work for him. And then the chaos that ensues around that. So clearly he is a private citizen being a superhero now. He opens up the hotline. It fills people who have a long history with Marvel, Iron Man, and Power Man and Iron Fist had a hotline that people could call in tips to. He reinstates that. He's hanging out with Misty Knight, who I love Misty Knight. She is cool in this. There's some tension between the two of them, which could be interesting or not. I'm liking that. But he is basically being his own hero now. And there is some social consciousness in the comic. It's current event type things. To some degree, there's clearly the unrest with police departments and people of color in this. There's some mention of the passing of the new marriage law in the United States. So gays have full rights to marriage just as much as anyone else does. And all of that is kind of a backdrop. There is the Sons of the Serpent, I think is what they're called. Basically, they're the equivalent of the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK. I think the characters, they were created in like the 60s, somewhere, I believe, to be basically that. So they're here, they're sitting on the border, there's people crossing into the border. They're preparing to kill those people who are crossing into the border, not just keep them from crossing from across the Mexican-United States border. They're going to shoot them. That's their answer to solving the immigration problem. And Sam Wilson shows up to stop them. And at the very end of it, there's a surprise. A helicarrier shows up with some SEAL agents and Steve Rogers, and they seem to think that they're going to take Sam Wilson into custody. So really curious to see what happens there. Really interested to see this exploration of, how does a modern person taking on the mantle of Captain America address, how does he function as Captain America versus Steve Rogers. So lots of conservative places feel the book is picking on conservatives because they're taking the topic of immigration and they're being labeled as the bad guys. I myself find it curious is that as a conservative, why would you you see yourself in the Sons of the Serpent? I don't know. Yeah, they have the same agenda, but clearly they're going about it in a way that no sane conservative would go about it. So I would not consider these Sons of the Serpent conservatives. I would consider them a terrorist group. So, a domestic terrorist group. And that's not something I would assume that you would associate yourself with. So yeah, is it left-leaning? I guess. I don't know. You read it for yourself. You find out for yourself. I guess. I don't see it as that. But whatever. As far as that goes, I enjoyed the book. I think it's a great book. I like I said, I like the art. I like the way it's laid out. I like the storytelling that's in it. I like the voices of it in it. I was entertained. I chuckled in places. And it also made me go, this is curious. There's some curious questions being asked here. Let's see how they're going to answer it. So excited by that. Next up is Catwoman issue number 45. This is the penultimate issue of Valentine's work, the writer on the book. Really been enjoying her story, where she's taking Selene, making her into this much smarter and wise and savvy kind of a person than what the old Catwoman seemed to be. So really enjoying that aspect. Kind of ashamed to see that the next issue is going to last. I mean, we knew this whole her being a crime boss was only going to last for so long. It seems to be the next issue is going to be the end of that. I'm really curious to see about the creators going forward after this, what they're going to do, what kind of story they're going to tell. Are they going to keep any of this? Are they going to play off any of this stuff here? Because it sets up a few families, it sets up some tension, sets up a new tension within Gotham as far as the crime families go, and it'll be curious to see by the next issue where she lands in this, where it all works out for where does she land at, who does she have as allies, who doesn't she have as allies in this. So looking forward to that part of it. Min says the artist on this, not necessarily the strongest artist. I mean, this when this new style of Catwoman first came out, it was drawn by I want to say Dan Brown, but Dan doesn't sound right. And he does artwork for The Massive, for instance, and I really liked his style, liked his darker tones, gave it kind of a pulpy feel to it that I liked with the whole crime family elements in it and stuff. And then the second part with this new artist on it, not quite as strong, but great colors by Lou Ridge, of course. A top-notch colorist. One more issue of this, and I'm going to keep getting it. I'm going to keep getting it going to the next one. I can't remember who the writer is at the top of my head, but I know that the artist that's going to be taking over the art duties is the artist who was on Coffin Hill. I really loved the way Coffin Hill looked, so excited to see that get put into Catwoman and see where they take her. I hope that they embrace what has been developed in Selene in these issues going forward. I know she's going back to being the Cat. I know she's going back to being the Cat burglar, but I'm really, really hoping that she keeps some of that poise. She keeps some of that adultness that she had that before this she didn't have. Before this she seemed much younger and much less adult, basically kind of living the party all night, carefree kind of a thing. And I know to some degree that is Catwoman, but there's this grace and elegance about her being smarter, not just smart about stealing and thieving, but smart just kind of in general, and being wiser and that sort of thing. And I'd really like to kind of see that aspect continue in the character. So curious to see where it goes, and kind of excited for that too. Next up, Constantine the Hellblazer, issue number 5, end of the story arc, where we battle the vengeful spirit of the ex-girlfriend. I've been liking this. I still like Constantine in this. He's a bit more dickish at the end of this issue than what he has been, and I think he's even more. It's more in-your-face dickish, I think, than what the old Hellblazer book was. It always seemed to me like clearly he was making choices that sometimes messed with people, but he usually people, it was more along the lines people got messed up as he was trying to make his best effort to do the right thing, to ultimately at the end of the day the best thing happen, and sometimes people got burnt in the process. Here you just kind of screws with somebody, and I don't know, I'm super excited by that. I'm enjoying this book. This didn't have a strong ending to it. There's something about it that felt a little off to me or whatever. I'm not sure if that's the Tinian the Fourth, one of the writers. I don't know if that's his influence coming through. I have problems with a lot of the endings of a lot of his books. They always seem to kind of not quite get there where they need to be, whatever that is. And I can't always put my finger on it as to say this is the exact malfunction with it. But it did have kind of those elements to it. So yeah, but I'm still enjoying it. Continue to pick it up. It's one of the few magic, dark kind of books that DC has now. They're becoming limited again on that. Since the New 52, when they have larger breadth of books, it's really starting to truncate and shrink as far as the variety that's out there. I guess it's expanded a little bit. The DCU has maybe bumped it in one direction or another. I don't know. I think it's bumped the books in tone. In different directions, which I think is good, but not necessarily subject matter in different directions. So, yeah. Book I'm really enjoying, Justice League United, this issue 14. I think there's only like a couple more issues left. I want to say like December is the last issue of this, which I think is unfortunate. The book has all the elements I really like in kind of a group superhero book. In this case, the Justice League United. There's a crisis out there of some sort. There's kind of a core Justice League United, and then they gather other heroes, random heroes. Well, not random. They're picking them because those are the heroes that are going to help them in some fashion to defeat whatever it is that's going on. In this case, the team current makeup is Stargirl, Batgirl, Vandal Savage, Steel, and Robot Man. I think that's our main people who are going in this mission. They're in France. There's some magical bubble there. They go inside, and inside this magical bubble, World War II is still going on, but a whole bunch of other wars are going on. Everything from Neolithic time wars are going on to space age type wars going on. So in this battlefront, Sergeant Rock and the Easy troop are there, which is awesome to see them, dealing with Vandal Savage, both literally actually back in World War II times and this kind of out of time, kind of thing. Enemy Ace is there. You have some great, interesting, long conversations with Stargirl. We get, Frankenstein, the Creature Commandos are in this. So you get Steel and Robot Man kind of in a fight with the Creature Commandos because they have Stargirl's staff. Stargirl's flying around. She gets clipped by some rounds and gets kind of knocked out of the air. Enemy Ace kind of catches her, but her staff goes flying down into the battlefield, and it actually goes through just G.I. Zombie. I mean, literally, he's like, with a big old staff sticking out of him. So Robot Man and Steel trying to get the staff back, so they can get back Stargirl. They get into conflict with the Creature Commandos for a little bit and whatnot, which is pretty cool. And then OMAC makes an appearance in this. So just give you an idea, that much stuff in it. This is just a cool kind of a let's gather up some cool heroes that aren't being used a whole lot. Let's use them for 2 or 3 issues for a story arc. Once that story's complete, then we get some more people. That's kind of how it's been. I just don't think enough people are paying attention to it. I don't think it got the advertisement that it needed, or enough word of mouth, partially because maybe I'm not doing enough of these videos to get people interested in picking it up. So it's soon to be gone. So I wouldn't necessarily say go pick this up. It's not like the best work out there. It's just a lot of fun, a good romp of a superhero kind of comic with all the kind of standard superhero elements you want to see in a big thing like this, with lots of heroes and villains and that sort of stuff. Just really, really, really fun. Really enjoyed it. And finally, for this week is The Last Days of Ms. Marvel, issue number 19, and this is the final issue of Ms. Marvel until it relaunches with a new number 1, and basically excellent story, great ending, an ending with emotional content, an ending with emotional weight in it. Just beautiful. If I didn't know that this book was starting right up again, I would be gutted that this book has ended, but I would also be very, very happy with the way this book ended. She addresses some incredible emotional things. She addresses some more stuff with her family. She addresses some stuff with her male best friend. So, some potential, what kind of feelings do they have for each other, and where she wants to go, and what she wants to do, that are just beautifully addressed in here. Because this book has been allowed the time for us to get to know Kamala Khan, for us to get to know Ms. Marvel, for them to build her up as from nothing to something, to make her into this great, great character. And just a fabulous run of comic books. I would recommend this to anybody who even has the slightest inkling that they might want to read a superhero book. This is one of the books that I would have them read. It's just smart. It just feels good. It feels right. This first 19 issues laid down so much groundwork for Kamala Khan and Ms. Marvel that I think Ms. Marvel from this point forward will be around in some way or another all the time in the Marvel Universe. If something were to happen, I think even if her title were to end, if G. Willow Wilson decides she's not going to write this character anymore, I think that she has laid enough groundwork here for every other writer to have an understanding of what Camilla's voice sounds like. I don't think in the all-new, all-different Avengers that's going to be coming out, I don't think Mark Waid is going to have any problem whatsoever conveying who Ms. Marvel is in that team book. She will immediately have a voice, I think, because everyone will have these 19 issues, if nothing else, to understand what her voice is, and that's an amazing thing that this rock solid. But I think she'll be around, and I think she'll continue to be popular. I think she'll continue to be a fan favorite for many years to come. Like I said, I think she'll be around. I would be surprised if we don't see a cartoon out of this character in the near future. If there isn't, I think it's a failure on the part of Marvel to not be just cranking this character out. I think there'll be people who are excited and interesting. People don't have any interest necessarily in superheroes whatsoever. They'd see advertisements for Spider-Man or a Hulk cartoon. They'll go, whatever, but just flash this girl up on the screen right like that, and there'll be people who will tune in to see what the heck she's about, and once you saw who she was, you'd be amazed. And I think it's the same way with the comic book. Just a brilliant piece of work all around. Excited to see what's going to come next. Excited to see what of any of this carries over into the new Marvel Universe. Hopefully not all of this that happens here is all forgotten. Because I would like to see how it works going forward. Just great, great, great storytelling all the way around. And that's it for this Monster Comics review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.